The Dodgers on the brink of making a blockbuster trade for Carlos Correa. Are you serious? Can you believe this? That is the latest from an insider from Bleacher Report. The Dodgers could be on the brink of making a huge trade. I'm here to give you all that insight in this video. Hey, this is Mike Nelson. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I want to thank the almost 9% of you, the ones who have already subscribed to the channel, the ones that are watching these videos. But 90% of you have not subscribed yet. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any Dodger content. Myself, Brad J, we're bringing you the everyday true blue content here. We're big Dodger fans. And if you're a Dodger fan or if you're just a baseball fan, hit that subscribe button. I want to thank the almost 5,000 of you who have already subscribed. We're the best Dodger channel out there. Let's get right into it. Of course, Carlos Correa. That's right. The hated Correa from the Houston Astros, the Houston Trastros. This is absolutely crazy. Dodgers blockbuster trade proposal lands $200 million three-time All-Star for pitcher. It's coming from Zach Reimer of Bleacher Report. Pitched a three-player swap that would bring the three-time All-Star shortstop Carlos Correa from the Minnesota Twins to the Dodgers in exchange for pitcher Bobby Miller, and prospect Edgardo Enriquez. So, what do you guys think? Is this actually legit? Because it would be a huge trade, obviously. It would send shockwaves throughout Major League Baseball. It would be so ironic for Correa to be, wearing Dodger blue. This doesn't even look right. Carlos Correa wearing Dodger blue. I mean, this would be kind of crazy to think about because he's one of the most hated players for sure in LA. He has to be. Just going back to 2017 and the comments that he made after that, basically defending the cheating scandal, saying that other teams were doing it as well, among other things that were absolutely ridiculous. It just seems absolutely crazy that this would be even a possibility, right? But Zach Reimer gets more into detail in this article. If Carlos Correa is going anywhere this winter, it will be because Carlos Correa wants to go there. He has a full no-trade clause, and it doesn't take much to imagine for blocking a trade proposal that would send him to non-contenders. But what about the Giants, the Mets, the Dodgers? One can see it. What do you guys think? Is this a remote possibility? Do you see this happening? Comment below. Would the Dodgers trade for Carlos Correa, have, of course, another star player, a quote-unquote World Series champion, right? But what do you guys think? I mean, this is absolutely, crazy, right? Because the Dodgers, as we know, is shortstop. There's a lot of question marks. Miguel Rojas getting, his age, definitely. As he's getting up there. Tommy Edman, there's a lot of, Mookie Betts moving back to the infield as well. So there's a lot of question marks, right? He's moving out of the outfield, going back to the infield. Mookie Betts, he's expected probably to play second base. So Gavin Lux, he was supposed to be the shortstop. He hasn't really been. So this would kind of make the Dodgers get their everyday shortstop, right? If they go out and get Carlos Correa from the Minnesota Twins, they would have basically their everyday shortstop. Now, he's entering the third year of a 6-year, $200 million contract. Wow, that's a lot of money. To think that he almost got more money. But anyway, that's what he signed with the Twins, and it's been a disaster, to say the least. Injuries, he only had 84 games last year. And, I used to live in Minnesota, so I followed the Minnesota Twins on a pretty consistent basis. So Carlos Correa has been a big disappointment for the Twins, right? He has been a player that the Twins have been kind of disappointed in. The fans have been disappointed in Correa. The money, of course, has been a lot that they have guaranteed him. And he hasn't really lived up to it, right? And the Twins are in the midst of selling their team. The team is up for sale right now. They don't have a broadcaster. Basically, the Bally Sports has dropped out of the Twins, so the money is not coming in. They're probably going to have to make a streaming service. And they want to cut back. So the Carlos Correa trade talks don't surprise me. That the Twins are probably shopping him around because it's just too much money. It's basically a team that's going into rebuilding probably very soon. And Carlos Correa is not going to be a part of that. He's just not. He wants to win. He wants to go to a contender. The Twins aren't going to be contenders. This was their shot the last couple years. We know what happened this year. The team didn't even make the playoffs after a complete collapse in the second half of the year. So this is their opportunity to trade Correa before he gets too old, before he's invaluable. And he's still a star player despite, of course, the bad years, the last couple years. But I don't know. I think that we can't, of course, dispute what he's done on the field outside of, cheating with the Astros in 2017. But what does this really come down to, right? I think, will the fans really accept Carlos Correa? That's the question I have. And I think that's the question he's going to ask himself too. Because, come on, if the Dodgers have that option to trade Henriquez and Bobby Miller for Correa, they're going to do it. They are. I mean, what do you guys think? They're obviously going to do it because Bobby Miller, as we know, is a pitcher that probably is not going to be the next Walker Buehler, and Henriquez it's a big question mark, right? It's all up in the air. Henriquez is all up in the air. What can happen to him, right? It's not really a pitcher that is he's too young, right? It's too new. So if they have an opportunity to get an everyday shortstop in Correa, they're going to probably do it. But the question is, will the fans accept Carlos Correa? I think that's a big question mark. What do you guys think? Will the fans accept him? In my opinion, they won't. They won't accept him. It's going to be another Manny Machado situation where the Dodger fans didn't really accept him, and he never felt at home, and he was gone, right? He was only here for 2 months. Basically played the rest of the year after the trade deadline, the World Series, and he was out. So Carlos Correa is going to have to waive that no-trade clause, and I think he's going to seriously consider whether he wants to waive it to come to L.A., right? He was very close to going to the San Francisco Giants and the Mets before, and they're mentioned in the report, but if they didn't want Correa before, why would they want him now? And let's not forget, I don't know if you guys remember this, but Carlos Correa was shopped by the Dodgers a few years back. The Dodgers were thinking of going after him in free agency. At the end of the day, he didn't sign with the Dodgers, maybe because he didn't want to come to L.A., but the Dodgers were heavily interested in Correa just a few years ago. So to think that the Dodgers would not consider a trade for Carlos Correa is pretty naive, because they would. They would consider it, especially if they only have to give up a couple young arms that most likely are not going to pan out in Major League Baseball. The Twins, on their hand, they're just trying to dump the salary, right? They know they're not going to probably get a lot for Correa because of the terrible year that he just had, playing in only 84 games. So they know the return is not as high as it could have been had he had a all-star season and led the Twins to the playoffs. So the return is not there. It's a salary dump. But the question is, he has to waive the trade clause, right? The Twins can't just dump him anywhere because he has a no-trade clause. So he's got to agree to go to that team. He has to agree to the trade, basically. And he's going to block trades to markets that he doesn't want to go to. Now, if the Mets and Giants don't even get in the conversation, if they decide not to even pursue Correa, I think we see the Dodgers swoop in and go after him aggressively. And that's the question, is going to be whether Correa accepts the trade to the Dodgers, right? I think that's what it's going to come down to, and that's all up to him. But as a fan base, I think it's going to be hard to accept him. There's just so much negative history with this guy. It's going to be hard to fully embrace him as a Dodger, but we'll see what happens. As always, make sure to subscribe, and let's go Dodgers. Woo!